If a woman tells you these 5 things, walk away immediately. Gentlemen, relationships can be complicated. There are countless moments of joy, laughter, and connection, but there are also those moments that make you question everything. It's in those moments when you hear things that leave you feeling uncertain, confused, or even hurt. It might be easy to brush it off, thinking it's just a passing comment. But what if those words reveal something far deeper? Words hold power. They reflect emotions, intentions, and the underlying truth of a relationship. And while no one is perfect, there are certain phrases that, when spoken, should immediately raise a red flag. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, offers us an incredible lens through which to view these interactions, especially when it comes to protecting our peace of mind in relationships. Stoic wisdom teaches us that the only thing within our control is our response to the world around us. We cannot control how others behave, but we can control how we react, what we accept, and how we choose to value ourselves. This is crucial when it comes to relationships, because at the end of the day, our happiness and emotional well-being lie in our hands. A Stoic would argue that relationships should not diminish your inner peace, but rather contribute to it. And if something or someone starts pulling you away from that peace, it's time to take a step back and evaluate whether it's truly worth the emotional investment. Now, when you hear certain phrases from a woman, phrases that seem harmless or are even casually tossed out in moments of frustration or conflict, don't be quick to dismiss them. They might be telling you more than you realize. These phrases aren't just words. They can be clues, signals, or even warning signs that the foundation of the relationship is shaky, or that your values may no longer align. Stoicism tells us to be vigilant, to protect our sense of self and emotional stability. It's not about jumping to conclusions, but about paying attention to patterns of behavior and understanding the deeper meaning behind them. So, let's explore 5 phrases that, according to Stoic principles, should have you seriously considering whether it's time to walk away from a relationship. These aren't just any phrases, these are words that, when spoken, show a lack of respect, emotional detachment, or even manipulation. They signify that the relationship might be draining more from you than it's giving. In Stoic terms, it's about understanding that your peace of mind is too precious to be compromised by something that's not serving you. By the end of this, you'll have a deeper understanding of the wisdom the Stoics offer in relationships, and you'll know exactly when to trust your instincts and walk away with your head held high. Phrase 1. I don't need you. When you hear the words, I don't need you, it might seem like a bold declaration of independence, perhaps even empowering in some way. But don't be fooled by the surface level of this statement. It's not a positive or empowering remark. It's a warning sign, signaling that something much deeper is going wrong in the relationship. On the outside, it might seem like the other person is simply asserting their autonomy, yet in reality it reflects a lack of emotional connection and investment in the relationship. And according to Stoic wisdom, this should immediately give you pause. The Stoics taught that the foundation of any meaningful relationship is mutual respect, cooperation, and emotional investment. It's not about dependency in the unhealthy sense, where one partner leans too heavily on the other for validation or support. Rather, it's about an understanding that both partners bring something valuable to the table, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. It's about sharing life together, recognizing the strengths and weaknesses in one another, and supporting each other through those highs and lows. But when someone says, I don't need you, It's a signal that they see the relationship as expendable. It means there's no real bond holding things together, and this lack of emotional depth is a serious issue in any connection. Now, this doesn't mean that everyone should need someone else in an unhealthy or controlling way, but in a relationship, it's vital to have some degree of interdependence. The phrase, "I don't need you," suggests that there's a lack of desire for emotional closeness or partnership. It reflects an emotional detachment, where the other person is essentially saying they can go through life just fine without you. They don't need your support, your love, or your presence to feel whole. While independence is important in any individual, a relationship is based on connection, and if that connection isn't present, it's hard to see how the relationship can thrive. In Stoic terms, this phrase should raise immediate concerns because it points to an absence of mutual care and a disconnection that undermines emotional well-being. The Stoic approach to relationships isn't about being constantly needed, but about forming connections based on shared values, mutual respect, and emotional resilience. In fact, a Stoic would argue that if your emotional needs and sense of self-worth are tied to someone who doesn't need or value you, it's a recipe for dissatisfaction and inner turmoil. If you stay in a relationship where your presence is merely tolerated rather than cherished, it's easy to lose sight of your own worth. Over time, you may find yourself questioning your role, doubting your value, and allowing your peace of mind to slip away as you chase after validation from someone who doesn't see the importance of emotional interdependence. The Stoic would advise walking away in such a scenario because ultimately, peace comes from within, not from seeking approval or desperately holding on to someone who doesn't truly value the relationship. When you hear, "I don't need you," the Stoic would say it's time to reflect. Ask yourself, is this relationship adding to my life, or is it draining me? Am I valued, respected, and emotionally supported, or am I simply being used to fill a temporary void? The Stoic values inner peace, clarity, and self-worth. And staying in a relationship where these qualities are compromised isn't something a Stoic would willingly accept. Ultimately, a healthy relationship requires that both partners recognize each other's worth, invest in each other emotionally, and support one another's growth. If someone tells you they don't need you, it's a sign that they're not willing to engage in that kind of meaningful connection. And, as hard as it may be to hear, the wise thing to do is to walk away before you lose sight of what you truly deserve.